everyone. My name is Victor Lund. I'm the CEO of RE Technology. Welcome to today's webinar. We're doing a real estate showcase here today. We have BoomTown with us. We also have one of their customers, a broker from Portland, Oregon, who's going to be talking about what he does with their application and how he's developed his web strategy and how it's become effective in his business. But before we get started, I just want to talk a little bit about online marketing in general and kind of where we've evolved to. Something has really changed in the last 24 months. Previously, real estate agents and brokers had websites, and the whole focus of that website was to generate leads and opportunities off their website once the consumer has gotten there. What's happened over the last 2 years is that the stronger impetus for success in online marketing is driving visitors to your website and then converting that lead. So this has been a pretty significant departure in real estate from the typical habits of successful real estate agents and brokers. Their experience is with working repeat and referral business, using great strategies for telemarketing, using great strategies for door knocking, marketing to your sphere of influence, direct target marketing through mailers. These are the things that are the fundamentals of success in real estate. And to a large degree, that has not changed. However, some real estate agents, teams, and brokers have pursued the internet as a way to increase or garner more business from the opportunities that the internet provides. We all know that the consumer's online. The trick is, how do you capture that consumer and scrape them off the web and convert them into a client? So I'd like to begin talking about that by introducing our principal broker, owner, and CEO of the Reger Group. Again, they're a Portland company. Craig, are you with us this morning? To unmute. We can't hear you, Craig.
Victor, are you there?
Yes, thank you.
I don't know what happened. Technology, here we go.
Through the magic of technology. Well, you know what? That's a great stepping off point. So just tell us a little bit about your company, where you're at, those types of things.
Awesome. Yeah, so we're here in Portland, Oregon. This is my 19th year in business. We currently have a team of 10, which includes buyer's agents, admin, ISAs, listing agents, myself. We have an expansion team, so although we're based out of Portland, Oregon, we've just expanded using BoomTown as a platform for lead generation, and we have a team in Salem, Oregon, which is about an hour south of us. And this year we've got about 175 units closed to date. We're on track for about 200, and life is good.
Oh, that sounds great. Can we advance the slide, Leilani? Let's just kind of, actually, go ahead, go forward 2 slides. I think Craig just covered that one. So, you know, Craig, your background is not in technology. I mean, we have seen a lot of people emerge in real estate who are just tech gurus. That's really not where you come from. Can you just talk kind of a little bit about how you became so successful in technology?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, I think first we became successful without technology. It was on traditional practices with a referral and sphere-based business. And in my marketplace, during the recession, prior to the recession, after the recession, I had a ceiling of achievement of about 35 million, which was approximately 100 units closed. And it didn't matter, Victor, if I worked 20 hours a day and 7 days a week, I just could not break through that ceiling of achievement. Yeah, every year, especially at this time of year, November, December, I'm setting my goals for the upcoming year, and it's like, well, I want to do 150, or I intend to do 200 next year. And I couldn't hit it. And so about 3.5, 4 years ago, we really started looking at the agents inside and outside of Keller Williams, the brokerage that I'm with, that were having tremendous success through technology. And my wife, who's my equal business partner, she actually runs the team for us. We said, this is something we need to implement. So about 3, 4 years ago, we started going to seminars, and we started purchasing some platforms through some various companies. And in honesty, it was a total disaster. We spent a tremendous amount of money. hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of our own time, as well as that of our agents and our back-end support admin team, to get a technology leg of our company up and running. We knew we wanted it. We knew we needed to add a second leg to increase our business. We even went as far as to hire a technology coach because we figured, hey, we can't do this. This clearly is not our natural strength zone, so let's hire somebody to help us. And the coach was phenomenal. And even with the coach being as good as he was, we still didn't have the DNA inside of us to make this work. And then approximately a year ago, we came across BoomTown, and we're extremely happy with the online presence and the business that we're getting off of it now.
So tell me what changed. I mean, obviously, in all fairness to BoomTown, their technology is really good, but there's a lot of great technologies out there. There must be something different about BoomTown that gave you a leg up, because clearly it wasn't that you were trying to buy technology cheaply.
No,
you just weren't buying technology correctly.
And we weren't buying it correctly, and likely we weren't using it correctly as well. I mean, we're investing up to $5,000, $10,000 a month and failing absolutely miserably. I think the success we had through BoomTown it comes from a couple different angles, and one of them is that our first week in BoomTown, or maybe it was even the first day, they assigned us and I'm quoting, a success manager. So we've got, besides the entire support cast that they have for us, we've got one go-to person that anybody on my team, be that my wife who's running it, or our ISAs who are often following up on the leads, or buyer's agents, we've got one key person we can go to with any situation, any question, that's going to get back with us or answer the phone call or emails promptly to help us be successful. And then the second part of it is, I think, the back end is that, when we spent all of this money in the past years, we've generated a bunch of leads from various different opportunities that we're swiping our visa to create, and we didn't have a back-end support system that helped us manage those leads, that told us exactly, hey, what are they looking at, and which ones are the best, and who's online looking right now. And I do confidently believe a lot of the success we're having this year is because we have that back-end system, and it's making it really easy, even for guys like me that aren't very tech-savvy, to say, hey, this one seems pretty hot. Let's pick up the phone and call them and try and set a meeting or show them the house.
So as you're looking for different discovery vehicles to drive more traffic to your website so you can drive your lead generation and your lead conversion, does BoomTown handle all that for you, or are you using a variety of products? Are they a consultative partner in your business? Are they a coach, or what do they do?
BoomTown is handling, for us, they're handling it 100%. I think that was the big shift of what we were doing just prior to BoomTown with the technology coach we had is, we were creating our own campaigns and our own AdWords and our own budget, and we were really searching out there for the next great thing that would have, so we could show up each day and leads would show up for us. And we were 100% in charge of it. And when we went over, and it was really stressful and really quite expensive. And when we're able to go over to BoomTown, that's what made it so simple for us. They said, hey, we've got this handled. Here's what we do. What are your goals? What is it you want to accomplish? Where do you work? What is it that you work at inside of Portland? What kind of properties? What kind of values? What kind of location? And they truly just set it up and made it happen for us. So then the leads start coming in, and then they give us coaching on how to convert those, how to manage them.
So if you could advance the slide a couple paces, Leilani, I want to look at the ensuring success slide, because I want people to understand how he has set up his team. And while you do that, Craig, would it be possible for you to tell us what an ISA is?
Absolutely. We call them inside sales associates. Another term we've heard is internet sales associates. So essentially, we've got one person, and this was something, by the way, that was highly recommended to us by BoomTown when we went into business with them. So we've got one person. Now we actually have two, and we have a third that's hired that starts December 22nd. And really what they do is that they're at their desk from 8 to 5 each day. They don't leave. They don't show properties. On our team, they are licensed real estate agents because that's required in the state of Oregon for the jobs they perform. And essentially, they're working new leads and they're managing past leads. So it's not uncommon if we get a lead from BoomTown within 1 minute and typically no more than 5 minutes, they're on top of that lead, corresponding with them, sending them an email. If phone numbers are provided, they're giving them a phone call, introducing our team, and working to convert that lead into a scheduled buyer consult in our office. So they're salespeople that don't, we call them inside because they work inside our building, right? Typically in real estate, you're out representing buyers or out listing properties. They're inside of our office for 8-9 hours a day, working these leads to schedule appointments for our sales staff.
Excellent. Leilani, could you advance the slide one more? I just want to kind of look at the image about how that's depicted. So we have 2 inside sales agents. Now, are these licensed agents?
They are. In our state, it's required. In our state bylaws, it states that if you're trying to procure a buyer-seller in any capacity, you have to hold a real estate license. So in our state, they are licensed, correct.
Excellent. Did you recruit those from, you're part of a Keller Williams office, right? Did you recruit them inside of Keller Williams, or did you go outside, or did you find the best? How do you do that?
You know, what was interesting, Victor, is that one of them was on our team, and she was our listing manager. So essentially, she'd do the marketing and the follow-up for our sellers. And she was pretty unhappy, and I was pretty unhappy. And what's unique about her is when she joined our team, and I made her get licensed because that role required it as well. I said, hey, she said to me, she goes, Craig, I'm not a salesperson, and she turned out to be the best salesperson I've ever met. Yet she's a single mom, so she doesn't want to deal with representing buyers at 8 o'clock at night or Saturdays and Sundays. So we moved her from that listing role into the ISA position. So she's got a set schedule of 8 to 5. Yet she's able to use the sales skills that she does naturally have to convert these leads into scheduled face-to-face appointments for our buyers division. The second one took us forward. We had so much success with her, we immediately said, look, we need another one. And from the day we made the decision to find that second one, it took us exactly 4.5 months to get them into our office. It took us about 3 months to find them, 3.5 months to find them. We did that through Craigslist, through social media, basically just placing ads saying, are you an animal on the phone? Are you aggressive? Can you convince people to do things? And we get responses to those ads. And then the hard part was we got a lot of quality candidates that showed up, and they didn't necessarily want to go and get their real estate license. So we ended up finding Mary, our second ISA. She came from a cold calling background in the insurance industry, and she's been with us for about 5.5 months, and she's knocking it out of the park now.
That's great. So do you fill the lead funnel so they're just responding and providing customer service to the leads that you're generating, or do they do a little bit of managing online leads and some outbound cold calling?
Their day is really time blocked. So in the morning, as we speak right now, from about 8 to 11 o'clock, for the most part, they're calling expireds, for sale by owners, and canceled listings. So we're hitting, hey, whatever happened last night at midnight in our marketplace, they're jumping on the phone and scheduling listing appointments for our team. With that said, as leads show up from BoomTown, they'll stop those activities and follow up on those leads immediately. From essentially lunchtime on, they're really working the BoomTown site. They're working new leads that have shown up, and they're doing lead follow-up for the leads that we received, 30 days ago, 100 days ago, 200 days ago. So their afternoons are completely dedicated to the BoomTown site to manage those leads into meetings.
How many listings do you carry at a given time?
Right now, homes are selling pretty quick still here in Portland. We're just about 2.83 months of inventory, so we're about as quickly as we get them, the good ones are selling. So at any given day, we've got about 30, 35 active listings and about 20 listings under pending, waiting to close.
So you're also getting a lot of inbound sales calls, sign calls, right?
Absolutely.
And are you converting those to web? Are you saying, let me give you the information about this house, okay, now that you have that information, would you like me to save a search for you so you're automatically notified of any price changes on this property or any other properties that are similar to this that come up in the marketplace?
Yeah, we are, Victor. We've made a couple pretty cool changes that are panning out quite well for us. So in the past, those inbound sales calls, I had those calls directed to our buyer's agents and our showing assistants. And what I was finding is that, hey, the buyer's agent is doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is, they've got Jim, Sally, and 2 kids in the back of their car, and they're out showing homes all day. So as they would receive those buyer calls, they weren't able to react quickly to them because, they've got a family in their car showing properties. So we've moved all of the incoming calls, our sign calls, to the ISAs. So they're fielding those calls, and then they are setting them up in the system Any searches they'll set up or any notifications on those property, they manage that through BoomTown to start building that relationship, again, to ultimately set that face-to-face meeting.
So you're using the tool as a client servicing tool as much as a lead capture and lead generation tool or lead maturation tool, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In fact, our team just met a couple weeks ago, and we agreed that any buyers that we procure from open houses or other sources that traditionally is what built my company, rather than setting up their searches in MLS, we're now putting all of those buyer searches into BoomTown, because the back end and what it shows us they're looking at, what they're doing on the site, obviously our multiple listings the multiple listing searches does not give us that, right? The only way we know that they've looked at a property or want to see a property is when they call or email saying, hey, Craig, show me this property on 47th. So we're taking these leads that we've been meeting historically in traditional ways, and we're now dumping them into the back-end BoomTown site as well, so we can manage them effectively.
So your buyer specialists, I mean, those people are just driving around. They're just showing homes all day long. Their job is not to be on the computer. Their job is not to be messing with BoomTown. It's just go out, sell houses.
That's it. It really is. And they're good at that. There's some of them that are a little bit better with technology than the others, but for the most part, I have buyer's agents to sell properties. Their strength zone is being belly to belly with Mr. and Mrs. buyers, showing them properties, helping them get through any objections they might have, getting them back to the office, writing an offer and putting it together. So we've set up a team soon to have our third ISA on board to get those face-to-face meetings scheduled with the buyer's agents so they can at that point take off and do their thing. And as they're doing their thing and extremely busy with home inspections and low appraisals and showing properties and buyer's remorse, they don't have to worry about the leads because we've got paid full-time professionals, highly trained, to just keep filling their funnel as they're out closing one property. Okay, here's your next buyer.
Awesome. So the next image here is you. One of the things that, and I'm telling you, Craig, I have told so many people this, and they fail every time at listening to this advice, and that is that 9 out of 10 buyer leads are seller leads.
Absolutely.
Because if you look, I mean, I know this. You know this. I don't understand why the rest of the real estate community doesn't know this, but there is not a single person in the world that decides to list their home until they see the home that they want to buy. They want to know where they're going to go. So can you talk about how you're, it looks like you have 2 listing specialists here. Are these ISAs driving a lot of listing leads as well off the buyer leads that you have coming in?
They're driving a ton of them. I mean, that's the beauty of our ISA model is that they benefit equally. So if they schedule a buyer consult, Victor, that ultimately turns into a buyer closing, they make X amount. And if they schedule a listing consult that ultimately turns into a listing closing, they make X amount. So let's work this through and say, hey, they've got a buyer lead that comes in, be that through BoomTown or a sign call, wherever it might be. If ultimately they can get us that buyer, and by the way, set up a listing appointment for the listing team as well, then they benefit double, right? It's a double ender for them. Oh, and it's a double ender for the team as well. So they're pushing every single buyer for, hey, are you a seller? And by the way, do you know anybody that needs to buy and sell? That's their whole job is to create appointments for the sales team.
So I mean, just from your gut, you may know this number, but just how does it feel in terms of how many first-time home buyers do you tend to come across? Is it a lot or just a few? Or
that's one of the, we track a lot of things, Victor. It's one of the things I don't track. I can tell you our average sales price as of 2 weeks ago in Portland was $330,000 year to date, and the average sales price for our multiple listings is about $285,000. So we're beating that by a good $35,000, $40,000. So with an average of $330,000, we're working with a whole lot of folks that are not first-time buyers, and then clearly we're working with a group that are. So we might sell a $600,000 home today and a $140,000 condo tomorrow. So if I had to make a stab at it, I'd probably say 20-25% of our business is first-time buyers.
And then, once people get through the funnel, they're in a contract, everything gets passed over to the listing coordinator? Or is the listing coordinator a person? Oh, I'm sorry, you have a transaction coordinator. So the listing coordinators, once we get the listing, they do all the marketing?
Yep. So inside sales sets the appointment. inside sales on our team never meets with a buyer or seller. I mean, they may shake their hand and say, hey, I'm the one that talked to you on the phone, and that would truly be the extent of the conversation. So they set the appointment. In our team, that we have a lead buyer's agent that runs the entire buyer's division, 9 out of 10 meetings, and she doesn't sell. She's just at the office, and her job is to close them when they get in the door. So the lead buyer's agent is to gain commitment from that lead when they come into our office and say, okay, I'm choosing you, the Craig Reger Group, to represent me on the home I'm purchasing. If they're a listing lead as well, she'll hand it off to the listing team to go to their house and work on the listing. So we get it into, right, so the buyer's agents at that point for her will take over, find them a property, get them into contract, and then the next step, which you asked about, is at that point we handle it to a transaction coordinator. So Victor, if we sell you a home, the moment that you get under a signed contract with us, we have a transaction coordinator that's going to handle all of your needs, all of your inspections, all of your paperwork, all of your questions from contract till keys handed to you. So again, the buyer's agents can go back out and do it again.
Do you guys use a transaction management solution?
Top producer is what we use. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you have, like, it looks to me, 4 people on your team that are not revenue based. So you have 2 customer care, 1 TM, and an admin.
That is correct.
What do the customer care people do?
The customer care would be, we've got, for me, they're kind of like the first hire, right? When we get into real estate and we're doing everything ourselves. So the lead agent, we're out representing buyers, we're representing sellers, and we're also doing the paperwork and making the flyers and dropping off the lock boxes. Our customer care person actually is cross-trained in all departments. So if we go on a run and sell 11 properties this week, and we do that from time to time, some weeks it's 2, some it's 11, we can't control that, is that she'll jump over and help the transaction coordinator out, and she'll make sure that those clients are getting great customer care. If we go on a run and list 14 properties in a 7-day period, well, our listing coordinator, because our listing agents sign the contracts, and then we have a listing coordinator that after the listing contract is signed will manage the marketing, manage the showings, manage the feedback. I like to call it the listing nurse because she's really taking care of them through the process of being on the market. And at key points, the listing agent may step back in like a surgeon to problem solve or negotiate contracts. So our customer care person will essentially is like that first hire, right? As you're an agent, and you say, okay, I want to give up putting on lock boxes or making flyers or handling transactions, our customer care person will jump around all those different divisions as one of them gets lopsided or overloaded with business to just make sure the clients are getting great customer care during that time that, frankly, my company's overwhelmed because of an increase in business.
So where are you in all this?
My business has gone to what in KW we call a 7th level team. And so essentially on 7th level, Victor, for the first 17, 18 years of my business, everything rode on my shoulders, right? So in other words, if I was going to be successful, it means that I was lead generating, I was closing leads, I was representing buyers and sellers and doing what I was really good at. And after about 17 years, frankly, I got a little bit burned out on that, and I started having a passion of helping other people succeed. So in a 7th level model, I haven't personally represented a buyer or seller in about 15 months. So I'm now in charge of doing things like finding great companies like BoomTown to partner with, and a big part of my responsibilities are out there finding talented people to join my team so that they can go and I can help them grow and learn, and they can go and help the clients have a great experience to reach their goals. So my job is leading a company instead of being the person that was in charge of every single sale.
Excellent. So I kind of want to get back on track a little bit with you know, the topic of I mean, this is unbelievable, by the way. I think that what we're seeing here is as advanced as anything that we see it anywhere. It's awesome. So if we could go to the next slide. So I just want to walk people through what you have understood to be the best practice for managing leads as they come in.
Sure.
So can you walk us through this slide and just kind of explain what's going on here?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's say we get a registration on our BoomTown account, so we're at the top left, new leads. Within 5 to 15 minutes, that's our team standard. You know, quite often we're going to beat that. And here's what's cool is that our ISAs, so those leads are going to them, they're motivated. They understand that their success comes from capturing that lead and getting a commitment of coming into our office. And so be it on a weekend or a holiday, or we had a snow day here in Portland a couple weeks ago, which is fairly rare, they chose to come in when our entire office was closed down, and they just knocked it out of the park because everybody else stayed home. A, our competitors, and B, all the buyers and sellers stayed home. So evenings, weekends, snow days, they're picking up those phone calls. They're responding to those emails. So the goal is to get back within 5 to 15 minutes with that lead when it shows up. At that point, we're verifying that we've got the correct information. The lead answers, and they go to schedule an appointment. So their only job on the phone or via email, whatever form of communication we have, is to work that lead to a face-to-face meeting for the sales team. If we're not able to get a response or to get a live person on the phone, or if we don't get a response to the email, then their job is to move that lead over to a drip campaign, and then to have a follow-up where they have a set time frame of drips going out and follow-up communications in a future attempt to capture that lead to, again, schedule that face-to-face meeting.
Awesome. So one of the things that we always talk about here, and Wave Group did a lot of, I also own Wave Group, but we're a research fund company. But in our research, one of the things that has become a pretty significant problem in real estate overall is that lead response rates are horrible. We looked at 1,000 leads that were generated across broker websites, agent websites, online websites like Zillow, Trulia, or Realtor.com, and others where people a lot of times are paying for leads. And one of the things that we found is 49% of leads went unanswered. Wow. In other words, people are leaning into technology. They're doing all of this online marketing, and then when a consumer contacts them, half the time the consumer gets no response. Wow. Now, when they did respond, the average time frame for that response was just over 15 hours. And the follow-up was pretty much non-existent. So some of the intriguing points about that, and we understand the science of this really well, is modality. When a consumer is in that mode where they ask a question or they connect to you or your company with a need, whatever it is, if you connect with them during that mode that they're in, your likelihood of success has no bounds. You blow everybody else out of the water. I mean, half of your competitors aren't even responding to online leads. It just throttles me, but it's a really great practice that you guys have. And if others on the phone call could take one thing away from this, it's lead response time is the most significant thing to manage for the success of your online business.
It's awesome. You're right. And it's not uncommon that we're responding via email, phone, and they're still on our site. They're still looking at the property, and we're contacting them saying, hey, I'm a live real person sitting here in Portland, Oregon. The house that you're inquiring about is 1.2 miles away. We know it well. Like, it blows their mind when we get back with them that quickly.
Yeah. Can we look at the next slide, please? So you have some metrics that you guys are kind of looking at. This is a great slide because it talks about the size of the opportunity that you've created for yourself. Can you just kind of run through this a little bit?
I'll let you handle the 11% AdWords because that's really something. BoomTown tracks that portion for us. What I can share is that in about the year that we've been with BoomTown, we've had 1,800 leads that BoomTown has created for us. So we've had 1,800 people go into our system 100% as a result of what BoomTown has created for our company in approximately the 12 months we've been in business. On top of that, we had 1,600 leads that we imported over. And those leads are going to be typically from the tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars I've spent over the past 3 years looking for the right partner and looking for the right platform. So we're really successful in creating these leads, 1,600 of them over a 2 or 3 year period. Spent a lot of money to get them, yet we weren't getting results from them because we didn't have the training or we didn't have the back-end support. So what is interesting looking at this is BoomTown's given us 1,800 and in 1 year, and I created 1,600 in the previous 2 or 3 years prior to that. So what we chose to do, because we really believe after getting into BoomTown and seeing the success that we're having from it, just how user-friendly it is and how great the training is, And this is just a real estate agent talking who's not very tech savvy. As we said, we're dumping everything else we have, and we're gonna put those 1,600 leads from all the different sources we've created, and we're putting them into the BoomTown platform, which we felt was going to give us the best opportunity to start converting them.
Yeah, I mean, we call this a customer for life strategy. So, a lead is a lead until they buy or die. So, you may not get them on the first time, but you stay connected to that customer. And we see data that comes out of the California Association of Realtors, which says things like, 90% of consumers indicate at the time of closing that they plan to use their real estate agent in a future transaction, but only like 30% do. And the number one reason why is because my agent never stayed in touch.
Absolutely.
So you have a system where once they're here, you're touching them all the time.
Always. Always.
And do you do that, like, for people that are not in the mode of buying or selling real estate? Is that a monthly newsletter that goes out, or what's the frequency that seems to be appropriate where you're in front of them, but you're not you're not spamming them?
We've got a monthly touch that goes out to absolutely everybody, and then we turn up the heat a little bit more. So there might be somebody that registered on our site 18 months ago, and they're getting that touch from us. And the neat thing, in my opinion, about the platform we're using is that if that person wakes up 18 months later and says, hey, today's the day I'm going to start playing on this site and start looking at these properties and doing some searches and digging in and looking at photos, it notifies us of that. So we're staying in touch with them on a fairly frequent basis without being stalkers. And then when they activate and say, hey, today's the day, be that at midnight or 2 in the afternoon, and I'm going to start playing around, or this one particular home that came up is something that looks appealing to me, I want to see more of it, it'll notify us that, hey, George from 18 months ago is looking, and that notifies my ISAs, let's give George a call, let's send him an email and see if there's anything we can do for him and schedule a face-to-face.
That's brilliant. So just as it relates to AdWords, so AdWords is a product that's developed by Google, and it's if you've never done a search like city name real estate, you'll see that the search results will appear with advertising on the top of the search results and advertising on the right-hand rail of search results. And there are other, search results. There's a mobile strategy for online ad buying and things like that. Today, the numbers kind of work out where the cost per impression of delivering an ad on portals where you suspect a pretty high hit rate of people who are actually in the process of buying or selling a home is somewhere around $20,000 to $30,000 per 1,000 impressions. And then your click-through rate is going to vary depending on the quality of your ad. The thing with AdWords is you can reduce that number down pretty significantly. You can reduce your cost per 1,000 of ads down below $5, sometimes as even low as $1. So you get some click-through rate. And again, the click-through rate that people should expect is going to be component to the call to action that's in their ad. Some people are really good at it. Some people are not. One of the big failures, and this is probably, fairly to you, probably one of the criticisms is that you were kind of winging it on how to write good ad copy when you were doing your AdWords account management yourself. And a lot of times, the two things that happen when people wing it is, one, you pay too much for the ads, and two, you don't write good ad copy. So using a specialist, and certainly BoomTown has demonstrated that they are, you can actually take your dollar and stretch it a lot further with online ad buying. The other thing you want to look at is what's the quality of that traffic. If you look at your Google Analytics or anything else, and you look at the traffic that's coming from your AdWords campaign, if you see something like a high bounce rate of 80 or 90%, that means that the visitor saw your ad, they clicked on it, they went to your site, and they clicked away. So 11% conversion from click-through rates in AdWords is astounding. And it's one of the things that BoomTown has demonstrated that they can provide again and again and again. So that kind of explains the metrics there. So it's not only how much traffic are you driving to your site, it's the quality of the traffic and the incidence of conversion. So there's a science to that, and frankly, one of the things I commend you on, Craig, is you said, I'm not that scientist.
I'm not. Right.
My job is to run these people.
I found an expert to create that opportunity for us, and then my job is to hire, get them the right training, and turn them loose. That's it. and we really tried to be the expert. And you're right. I think winging it would be generous. I think we would have had better success if we were winging it. We did everything we could to try and create this on our own, and I'm not kidding when I say I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours trying to figure this out with truly no success. I mean, to spend $100,000 and have one sale at the end of it, that's not a good return.
No, that's a mistake. Well, great. So let's just take a few minutes. I do want to let people know, again, if you have questions for Craig or me, please put them in the questions dialog box. We're going to have time to answer all your questions here in just a few minutes. But I want to just go to the next slide here. I want to introduce our technology panelists today. His name is David Yim, and he's from BoomTown. BoomTown has been around for a while. You can see they've gotten some accolades. They're a really fast-growing company. I think if I'm not mistaken, they brought in $16 or $20 million of funding to pursue the dream of being able to deliver the solution to real estate agents, brokers, and teams. So with that, David, are you with us?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you great.
Awesome.
If you could just take 10 or 15 minutes and just kind of run through the solution that Craig's talking about here, and just give us a quick overview of how that's working in his business and the kind of solution that you could provide to others if they're interested in doing the same thing. That'd be great.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having us here today. I want to kind of start, before I show some of the key components of our technology and services that Craig was alluding to, just kind of want to start by sharing our vision, which is to constantly innovate and share knowledge to drive the future of real estate. This is really at the core of our heart. I had the privilege of being at this company when we were just a 5-man startup. So seeing it from 5 people to grow to 155 plus people now, to be able to say that we really stay true to this vision where we're constantly trying to innovate, push the envelope for our customers, because that's what they rely upon. As Craig was touching upon, he's not a technology expert. He needs a partner that's going to be on the forefront for him, and that's really what we've prided ourselves in being able to partner with our clients to innovate on their behalf, to share knowledge for them, to collectively drive the future of real estate. And really the mission that keeps us in line with that is to become the indispensable hub of real estate technology and services that both consumers and professionals love to use. And why we said the indispensable hub, it'll make more sense in the next slide, Leilani, if you can push it over there. 7 years ago when our founders were innovating the solution and looking at the space, this was kind of the current state of affairs, for lack of better words. We had so much fragmentation in the real estate technology space. And fast forward to today, it's really no better. In fact, it's become more crowded as more technology vendors are out there trying to get a piece of this real estate puzzle here. There's more and more vendors that are doing isolated, fragmented parts of the overall solution that a team leader like Craig was looking for. And he mentioned how he went 2-3 years spending, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 and hundreds of hours wasted trying to find a vendor that does lead generation. Then he has to find another vendor that does IDX websites. Then another vendor that does leads management, or CRM as we like to call it. Another vendor that does accountability, digital marketing, and then trying to find a technology coach even, as Craig said earlier too. What happens at the end of the day is that these real estate agents and brokerages have such a hodgepodge solution quilted together, and really the chance of the agency and the agents within that brokerage adopting the solution goes down the drain. Victor, I love the statistics that you shared, that 49% of leads went unanswered. I love it because it squarely points to this pain. If I'm a real estate agent and my broker or my team leader is buying a new solution every 6 months, and he's like, hey, here's a new shiny tool that we're going to use, and he's doing this over and over again, it's such a fragmented piece of technology that I can't adopt. The hardest thing to do, I found, is to change the behavior patterns of salespeople or real estate agents who are out on the road all the time, right? They're not going to take the time to learn the solution. And so the broker or the team leader goes out, spends all this money on a new solution, only to come back home to find out his agents aren't using it. And no wonder when a lead registers, they don't get answered but 15 hours later, if at all. And so really what we realized is that we can provide the best solution, and Leilani, if you can switch over to the next slide here, we can provide the best technology to become the central hub and consolidating all these into one seamless, simple-to-use solution. But we can't just stop here, right? So we pride ourselves in the innovation that we've made in this space. We have a very tight ecosystem of solutions that are geared specifically toward converting online leads, helping brokers manage them, helping brokers manage their agents as well. But we didn't stop there. And Leilani, if you go to the next slide as well. Fast forward one more time. Where we really made our investment and put our heads in the market was to innovate and pioneer on the side of success management or coaching, if you will. We're really one of the first tech companies in this space to really revolutionize this concept of what it means to not just be a vendor, but become a trusted partner. If you look at the makeup of our organization today, we're about 150 people. We have 10 salespeople. We have 50 or some engineers. We have 10, 15 people on the product. We have 50 people on the client success side of the house. Usually most companies of our size are the other way around. There's about 50 to 75 salespeople, 10 poor account executives who are trying to figure out how to manage their busy day and talking to the thousands of clients that they have. But BoomTown really put the money where their mouth is by putting their investment into the client success. And so this is not just reactive customer service, which is what most companies provide out there. We do that as well. But this is proactive success coaching. And this is what Craig was talking about, the two reasons why he had success with BoomTown. Number one was the back-end technology, but the second one was a success manager, a go-to resource that someone like Craig or a lead buyer's agent or an ISA or inside sales associate, on his team can always depend upon and say, hey, this is my situation. Can you craft a custom strategy for me that I can achieve the highest ROI in the shortest amount of time? And so our BoomTown organization is geared up with success managers, technical support, training team that's going to make sure that the agents actually adopt this solution that they're going to buy and therefore provide an amazing experience for the customers that they're going to serve, which we're going to provide through the website. So at this point, I would like to kind of just display this technology, give a quick rundown. If I can get past controls here, I'd greatly appreciate it. Okay. At this point, you should be able to see my screen, and we're going to start off here in a quick tour of the consumer user experience on the front end. And so Victor was talking about how there's a stronger impetus, a change in the market to drive people to the website and convert leads. And so instead of a team leader like Craig or a broker out there trying to churn his own butter and figure this thing out, he trusts our dedicated team of digital marketing specialists who are Google certified. We're partners with them. We have experience managing several millions of dollars of campaigns. And so what we're going to do is custom tailor a strategy for Craig's team here, and I'm going to showcase his front-end website. So when a consumer in his market types in a keyword like Portland homes for sale or Portland real estate or Portland condos or whatever area that he's trying to target, we're going to make sure that our clients show up, right? 91, 92% of consumers are now searching online. If you don't show up in the search engines, then you don't exist in their mind. You have no chance of connecting with them. So we get them placement here, and we're going to manage the ad copy. We're going to revise it. We're doing A/B testing. We're constantly trying to find the most dollar productive ad copy placement for on the behalf of our clients. So when a consumer then clicks on this link,
it's pretty interesting to note that there are 127 million pages for the keyword search of Portland homes for sale.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's incredible. It's
that's a pretty competitive marketplace, I'd say.
It is very, very competitive, and it just goes to show to have an expert, a team of experts manage that for them, where he's navigating across 127 million results served for this to make sure that we're not just spending $5 a click or $20 a click or whatever it may be to get in placement, but because we're responsible for his entire campaign and the lead conversion, he can trust that we have his strategy really ironclad here. So when we bring this consumer from that ad, we're going to land them on Craig's website, which we built for him. It's an IDX-enabled website on the front end. We pull a direct data feed from the MLS that he belongs to. One of the advantages of this, obviously, over some of the aggregators or the syndicators out there is that we're getting a direct feed from the MLS. It's updated every hour, at least in some markets, which allow us to go faster. We can go up to 10 minutes. But you're getting the freshest data set, so Craig's clients can have the latest and most accurate data directly from the MLS. And it's displayed in this beautiful website here where we land them directly on 1,500 Portland homes, right? For a consumer, their attention span is about 0.2 seconds. If you don't meet their immediate expectation, they're gone. So here we want to have no fluff, land them directly on what they were looking for. And this is our gallery view. So a consumer can come down, and this is going to be an infinite scroll, so they don't have to click next page or next page or next page after that. They can just see that there's plenty of homes to look for. Now, the first thing that a consumer is going to do is to refine his search criteria from 1,500 homes. That's way too many. Let's refine this. I'm between 300 to 400K. I'm looking for a single-family home, at least 3 bedrooms for that kind of money, 2 baths. Notice how all of the things that a consumer would want to do from the beginning is all on one cohesive user experience. I didn't have to go to another page, click backspace, or anything like that. We really put our attention into the user experience, because if we can't provide an amazing experience for that consumer, there's no chance of us of creating a viable prospect for our customer. So now notice how it just went down from 1,500 homes to 176, and that was done instantaneously without a click of a button. It refined the search so the consumer can look through here. If you want to engage in a deeper level, you can. Now, some of the other things that consumers are looking for, remember, realtors out there, they are comparing your site against Zillow and Trulia and Redfin's out there. Your website needs to have the kind of user experience caliber of those portals at the minimum. So what they're looking for on a checklist is, hey, did it load up fast? Next thing, does it have a map-based search? Everyone is looking for a powerful, responsive, map-based search. So if I'm coming in here as a consumer, those search criteria filters were fixed from there. It transfers right over to the map. I can zoom in and zoom out, and it's going to register the listings that match that criteria. I can even go down to the granularity level of drawing a polygonal shape. And this is what customers are doing these days, right? They got so much information out there. They're talking to coworkers or they're talking to friends and saying, hey, you really want to live in this pocket, in between this highway here, next to the river over there. Grant Park's a great area as well, and they're going to solidify an area right there. Now it's just refined it down to these specific set of homes that are within this polygonal shape with those price criteria. Now, when a consumer can do this much, of course they're going to come here and save this search, right? That's one of the ways in which we have a call to action. We want to mix up the different calls to action so that when we provided value, when we show the customer, hey, we have powerful tools here, you can continue this search by creating a free MLS account. Name, email address, and phone number. And one of the great things about having so much experience in this industry with managing over 1,000 clients' accounts is that we can test all of the different ways in which we can get higher registration rates. So one of the things that we did for the phone number here is we said, hey, phone number is used as your password. Just a little neat thing that we tested, and we found that the validity rate of the registrations increased significantly because consumers weren't able to just put in whatever phone number because they couldn't remember that, right? So they're putting in more valid information at a higher rate. And we're constantly testing this on the behalf of our clients. They don't have to worry about this on their own. So that's, in essence, how a lead is generated. I know that we have very little time here, so I want to kind of jump into what it looks like on the back end of the system. Okay, so I don't want to give up Craig Reger's secret sauce. I'm not going to show his back end, but this is one of our long-standing clients, and he's out of Hilton Head, South Carolina here, where we're in a home state. And now we're logged in, and we're looking at the lead central. And this is kind of the central command center for all the leads. It gives you all the intelligence that an ISA or a buyer's agent our inside sales associate or a buyer's agent might need to be able to effectively manage his pipeline. So I'm going to come in here. I can filter through the tabs. These are all the new leads that haven't been pushed over into these categories. New, qualify, hot, nurture, watch. Think of those as your A buyers, your B buyers, your C buyers, people who are 3 months out versus 6 months out versus 12 months out. This gives a simple way to qualify and categorize your pipeline. And so here we give all the pertinent information, who they are, when they last visited, what's their average price, what source of traffic they registered from. We're dog tagging everything there so you know exactly which source can be attributed for that lead generation, and then have any action been taken on this lead as well. So that information here in one tabular view is very easy to see. Now,
can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Absolutely.
Did you say this is live data?
This is live data, yes.
And they're in Hilton Head?
Yep.
What's amazing to me about this is if you look at this lead funnel, these customers aren't from the local market area. These people are from Buffalo, New York, which is where Lancaster is, D.C., lots of people from New York, Minnesota, New Hampshire. It's amazing to me how much of the lead volume is from out of area. Anyway, keep going. I guess that's the nature of Hilton Head too, you know.
Hilton Head's a pretty unique market in the sense that it's a retirement second home community. But even in Cody's site, Portland, if we were to show that, you see, a lot of different people from different areas from across the country, job relocations. People are more transient than ever in this generation, and so you're seeing a lot of relocation happening as well.
People want to move there because pot's legal now.
Oh, man. So instead of just having a database warehouse where it's just stagnant data, anybody can do this, right? Anybody can have a central database of record, and it's static, and it's a pipeline, and agents can log in. We wanted to add something so innovative for our customers to allow them to work smart and not just hard. Every salesperson has had a CRM where they have 500 leads or 1,000 leads, and they wake up in the morning. Who am I supposed to call? And why should I call them? There was no answer to that. And so BoomTown, we wanted to tackle that challenge and create what we call the opportunity wall, or the BoomTown Now panel. It tells you exactly who you should call and why. And there's an algorithm behind this that calculates different behavior metrics to say things like exactly what Craig was talking about. He said he has a lot of people that were once searching on the site, went dormant for 6 months, 8 months, or 4 weeks, or whatnot, and then came back on. Well, how would you know that in your database? Well, for Craig and BoomTown clients, he can just go into this opportunity wall and filter out and say, you know what, I want to see all my renewed interest, right? So I go to my feed here, and here's a renewed interest. And let's take a look at what that means. That means that this particular prospect, Beth Klein, you can see his activity. He first registered, or she first registered in June of 2013, then went dormant. June 13th of this year, went dormant for 4 months, and then went dark for another 3 months, and then activity spike. On this day, on 12/6, just a couple of days ago, looked at 10 property views. That's a behavior prompt that an inside sales associate would catch right away, or a buyer's agent would catch right away, as an impetus for a follow-up call. Rather than just calling for the sake of calling, which is what a lot of salespeople do, we call it follow-up fatigue. They just beat up their leads until they die. Now, BoomTown allows you to have some intelligence behind it and a reason behind why they're calling. And that's what Craig was saying. He can come in here, his agents come here, filter out different things and say, you know what, I want to see all the people who are coming back to the site after going dormant. Those are powerful conversations that they can have. And I can look at not just renewed interest, but how about people who are looking at my particular listings, let's say. So here's all the people that are actually looking at my listings, right? So here's the lead, Marcus Jackson. He came in, and this is my listing right here. And he looked at it, favorited it 4 times. So I'm going to take high interest in this particular lead as well. So you can set all different types of filters here so that your agents will know exactly who to call they have a dollar productive activity planned for them by the intelligence of the BoomTown leads management system. Another great feature that has helped inside sales associates and buyers agents across the board, and even selling agents as well, is called our MLS hot sheets. And so here, this is where we marry the MLS, which agents log into every single day. NAR profile says that 70 to 80% of all agents log into their MLS every single day. Yet only 18 to 20% will log into their CRM every day. So we brought the two together. Here's the MLS hot sheet, the ubiquitous MLS hot sheet that every agent lives by. We brought in all the data here, but we paired it with your database, with your sphere of influence, or with the leads that you have put in. So for example, this listing just came on the market an hour ago. You already have one person that favorited it. Let's take a look at who favorited it, right? This one here was favorited by Don Hammond. It just came on an hour ago. Let's look up Don. And I can see that Don, searching out of Columbus, Ohio, looking to relocate probably. I can send him a quick email to talk about that particular listing that just came on the market that he favorited. I can go back to here and look at a price reduction, $51,000. It went down by 4%. Well, I have 144 best fit leads. This is another part of our intelligence suite where our system can match based on the behavior patterns of the consumers that they have exhibited to the particular property attributes that we're looking at. So this property, which went down by 4% or 54 grand, has all of these people who would be a great fit based on the criteria that we're looking for. So I can say, you know what? Let's send an email out to all these guys. I'm going to send a blast email to all of these guys, 144, about this particular property that just went down by 4%. Right? So this infuses your lead management strategy with the intelligence of data, which data is ubiquitous. There's, we call it connecting the dots, right? Steve Harney would say there's all these dots out there of information, and the job of the real estate agent is to connect those dots on the behalf of the customer. Well, for BoomTown, we look at it that way as well. We have millions and millions and million points of data that these consumers are showing on our website, and we're trying to connect those dots for our real estate clients so that they can make the right call at the right time, right? And so here with the best fit leads, this is another great use case, is that a lot of people who are listing heavy, that are out there on listing presentations, say that this is really the deal killer. I mean, the thing that nails the head on the coffin right here is coming into an appointment. Everyone's going to say the same thing. Mr. Seller of a home, I'm going to put your home on 150 different websites, going to be syndicated all over the web, yada, yada, yada. But one thing our BoomTown clients can say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, your house right now is between 600 to 700K, which we just discussed in the CMA that I did for you. I'm going to show you something that no other person is going to be able to show you here because of the investment that we've made. It's a 3-bedroom, and it's a 2-bath. And yours is at least 2,000 square feet. It's waterfront. I already have 271 prospects in my BoomTown site that are a high match based on the behavior algorithm. And this is where you can sound really smart to the customer. Based on the behavior algorithm that my buyer size system has calculated to say that these would be great matches. On a click of a button, I can market your listing that I want to help you sell right now to all those 271 people right now. That's so much more powerful than all the things that the other agents are saying about having their listings and getting them exposure, exposure, exposure. We have actual matched up prospects. We call this the match.com for real estate. Now, lastly, I wanted to show the accountability suite. And for a team leader like Craig, who is no longer in production, who has the luxury of being able to really focus on driving the efficiency of his team, increasing the ever elusive conversion rate from 1% to 2% to 3%. The constant feedback that we're hearing from our clients is that the accountability dashboard is something that has made a true impact for them. A lot of my team leaders and brokers have this accountability dashboard on large screens just posted out in the middle of the office, just to show how other agents are doing compared to the others in the office as well. And this is where BoomTown really shows the key metrics, the KPIs, the key performance indicators that you should be paying attention to. Where are your agents? When's the last time they logged in? How many leads do they have? Out of the leads that they have, how many were not viewed? How many don't have e-alerts set up? How many don't have emails? How many aren't getting phone calls? And what's the first time to respond to a lead? So I can dig in, and obviously this particular client also has an inside sales associate that's getting the bulk of the leads, 83 leads, but she's doing a great job. 83 leads last month, 0 not viewed, and her average time to respond is an hour, under an hour, which is pretty impressive considering the 83 number that she's doing. We want to see that number come below an hour. But I can look in here and understand as a team leader who I need to coach up, who I need to coach out, and who I need to really spend time with in making sure that they're from the middle of the pack and driving them up. So many brokers and team leaders will come to us and say, I have no idea where my leads are going. I know I'm spending a lot to get them, but after I get them, I have no visibility into what's going on afterwards. And so this accountability dashboard here has really helped our team leaders and our brokers be able to partner up with their agents to help them improve their performance as well. Victor, I know I covered a lot,
but I got to cut you off.
So yeah, I know. Thank you for
the
opportunity to do that.
So it's the top of the hour. What we're going to do at this point is shift gears a little bit. For those of you who need to take off, please go ahead and do that. But we're going to get into the Q&A part. So I'd like to ask everyone to pay attention to the GoToWebinar control panel. There are a lot of questions that we've had come in today. We're going to answer those questions. At this point, I'd like to ask staff if they could just please stop the recording.